and we have now arrived at what is widely recognized as Good Friday. Again, what we are currently observing right now is the famous Mount of Olives, a significant historical site. Here is the current view. Obviously, it didn't look this way back then. Over 2,000 years ago, I truly wanted to pause and stop here, in this moment. Because at night it looks completely different. So we saw yesterday on Thursday, what is known as Holy Thursday, when Jesus shares the Last Supper with his disciples, his final supper with his devoted disciples in the bustling city. And then, as was his customary practice, he goes out to the serene Mount of Olives to spend some time in reflection and prayer. And according to well-established Christian tradition, this is the significant place where Jesus is famously betrayed by Judas Iscariot. Of course, this intriguing event takes place at night, yet I captured during the daylight hours, so you could appreciate their surroundings. However, let's keep in mind that this particular event occurs during the nighttime hours. If you would like me to create a comprehensive video about what is known as the Tranquil Garden of Gethsemane, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. I did it right here, where Jesus is arrested and was taken to the residence of the high priest for questioning. As I mentioned before, this is the city of David, Jesus. Jesus would have been arrested by authorities. You can see approximately where these individuals are located. Over here on the right, that location would approximately be the same as the historic Garden of Gethsemane. They must have come down through the Kidron Valley and then brought Jesus to the high priest for questioning and judgment. And the big question is, where exactly was the house of the high priest located in that historical context? Well, there exists one late tradition that has developed over time and one more contemporary tradition. The contemporary one is the place that is increasingly visited more frequently today, and it is approximately, as you can see here with the mouse, a location commonly referred to as St. Peter in Gallicantu. However, the early Christians, along with the Armenians, played a significant role in history, are part of this group. They placed the house of the high priest approximately in this particular area, which happens to be known as the Armenian Quarter in the present day. I will show you this shortly, where the rich tradition truly originates and has deep roots. According to them, is the moment when Jesus is presented before the high priest. So let's see that shot. According to the 19th century tradition, they take Jesus to this significant place here, which is currently referred to as St. Peter's il Gallicantu. Let's see inside how the church looks. Therefore, they decided to name this specific location the Prison of Jesus. And the question is, could this possibly be what you are currently observing in your surroundings? Or is the earlier tradition still relevant and influential today, where they truly took Jesus for his trial and crucifixion? If you would like me to make a complete video concerning this entire intricate complex summary, discussing the Church of St. Peter il Gallicantu, feel free to share your thoughts or questions in the comments section below. We can't discuss each of these various places because the video would be extremely long, but it would be an absolute great pleasure for me to show you even more exciting details and offerings, and share additional insights about the fascinating history of this remarkable place. After Jesus is found guilty and judged by the Sanhedrin, he is brought before Pilate, and it is here that once again, we find ourselves reflecting on the medieval tradition. But we also have skilled historians and dedicated archaeologists. So, let's take a closer look at the comparison. Medieval tradition states that Jesus is taken to the Antonia Fortress, a Roman military stronghold, which is situated to the north of the Temple Esplanade area. And this is precisely what we can observe here in this detailed model of ancient Jerusalem. Here we see the magnificent temple, and right next to it is the Antonia Fortress, or the Antonia Tower. However, the Gospels are very specific, saying that Jesus was taken to the Roman Praetorium for trial. And the pressing question is, well, what happens next? The Praetorium might have potentially been the Antonia Fortress, or, more precisely, the impressive palace of King Herod. This is the specific model that we can see presented here. Once again, we are looking out from the west toward the east. Here is the temple, and once there stood the magnificent King Herod's palace. Today it is a museum. If you would like, there are many interesting places to visit nearby, but if you would like to learn more about what still remains of the historic palace, Please feel free to share your thoughts and let me know your opinion in the comments section. The archaeologists and historians meticulously examined Jesus' trial with Pontius Pilate here in this area. What we fail to observe in this model is that when it was made, they didn't possess all the necessary information readily available. There isn't a single door that we can identify archaeologically at this time was here at some point. Let's take a moment to see what this area looks like today in its current state. And as I said, the Catholic tradition specifically places the Praetorium at this significant location here, within the historic fortress of Antonia, instead of the grand palace of King Herod himself. You may have heard of the meaningful 14 Stations of the Cross. It's actually a medieval tradition. The specific date and time of the Crusaders in the 12th century AD, since the early Christians did not adhere to this particular religious tradition. So, in summary, we will take a brief look at the Stations of the Cross, according to the long-standing tradition of the Catholic Church. So let's go through these stations one by one. But before we return to those stations, I wanted to show you how it looks today in detail. The historical site where the Praetorium once stood, and we can see here today. I wanted to more or less show this specific area. Here are a few city workers who were enjoying a break from their lunch break. These walls that we can see clearly on our right and left sides date back to that time. And interestingly, there are several steps leading to the beautiful entrance of the building. But there is a wall, because in ancient times, we know there was a large door located here, since these walls were not constructed during the time period of Jesus. If you would like to know more about the fascinating history of Jerusalem, there has been a captivating series of videos narrating intriguing stories. The history of Jerusalem along the walls. You can easily access and enjoy our curated playlist by visiting it. Now, let's head over to the stations. This location is commonly referred to as the second station of the Way of the Cross. If you would like me to make a series on all the stations in a separate video, please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. You might be wondering, what occurred at station number 1? Station number 1 is up here. Today it's a school. Here stood the ancient and formidable fortress of Antonia, now in ruins. When you arrive here in the morning, you cannot enter this area because it is a school. Now, let's proceed to station number 3 without delay. And this quaint little chapel, which is small and tucked in one corner. This location is widely recognized as station number 3. According to tradition, Jesus falls for the first time. And right next to it, we can clearly see station number 4 located nearby. Right at this moment. Well, we were showing the flag of Israel here, as this area is known as the Muslim Quarter. Again, station 3 and station number 4. Let's proceed to number 5 in this other corner. Here is chapel number 5. Again, if you would like me to create a video specifically focused on the Way of the Cross, kindly share your thoughts with me in the comments section. And here, we proceed up to station number 6, and here, just on the left side, we can see the designated area. Up to station number. I know that, quite coincidentally, it happened to be closed that particular day, but in future videos, I will show you inside, or at least in photographs, how the chapel looks. We move on to station number 7. And we can already see in the background the bustling station number 7. You see people coming out. And you can see it. The Roman numeral number 7, which represents 7 here, is just a single Roman numeral. We can clearly see station number 8 from this viewpoint. Here, we now transition to the new number. We need to retrace our steps and go back the exact way we originally came. We're arriving at station number 9 once again, as planned. Here is the designated Roman numeral, and the ceiling for the jump is officially set in place. The remaining stations are inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the sacred site of Jesus' burial and miraculous resurrection. Took place in this area. However, over 2,000 years ago, that impressive building did not exist at all. In fact, it was located outside the city walls, shown in another video. If you'd like, let me know in the comments. I will create a single video that focuses exclusively on this church. If you are interested, please feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments. And here in one particular tradition, it happens to be taken to the Calvary site. The current appearance of it resembles this today. Friends, today we joyfully celebrate not only that Jesus chooses to willingly take our place on the cross, but also that he submits to the will of the Father and not to his own will. I know that for many, depending on the specific cultural tradition you come from, you might envision something similar to these lamps. It may be somewhat contrary to your own established tradition or customary practices. I've said in other videos that really and primarily, God embodies the pure intention that resides within the depths of the heart. And today we take a moment to remember how Jesus thoughtfully chooses to submit to the Father's will in this manner. It changes the history of humanity. Station 13. Besides Station 11, inside the church, there is a stunning mosaic artwork. We can see a vivid illustration of Jesus being gently taken down from the cross and then carefully placed on a smooth stone or placed on the floor to eventually be buried. Although in Jesus' actual tomb, there is truly nothing left today. What we have today is something often referred to as the tomb of Jesus Christ. But you will surely know that this particular building, it could not possibly have originated from the time period of Jesus. The chapel is from the 19th century, since the church has been transformed into. Let me know if you want me to make a video, totally and exclusively, of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Please feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments section, as the history of this remarkable place is extensive and very rich and significant. I really hope these videos can give us an idea, at least possible past scenarios. The burial, the place where he was betrayed, the specific location where he was taken to see the priest, where he stands before Pilate, who will ultimately judge him. And although the stations of the cross are not historical, in the sense, because they can be traced back to the medieval period, but may this experience truly enlighten us all about the profound sacrifice that Yeshua made for each and every one of us. Come back. And I repeat, if you're interested in me making a video exclusively focused on the historic way of the cross, let me know in the comments, just like the revered Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. Let's remember that he did not stay there, because there is still the hope and joy of Resurrection Sunday to look forward to. I truly hope to see you again in the next video. My name is Aviel. Your ultimate guide arrives from the blessed land of the Messiah. I truly hope to see you all in my next exciting video. Shalom.